Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening. Folks, thank you very, very much for listening. The date is the 13th. It's Friday the 13th. The month is March. The year is 2026. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Single, a.k.a. Motown Noah. The world has been shocked. Entire realities have been shattered. The simulation has been broken. Personalities have been torn apart by their hinges, by their studs. Hell doth frozen over, and Bam Adebayo has scored 83 points in an NBA game. That happened this week. It is a thing that happened that we are going to be talking about for a long time. When I say, realities have been shattered, personalities have been broken, this is breaking people's brains. And I think it is, there's just so much to dissect here, man. There's so much to dissect here. And I don't even know if we're going to be able to do it all in this episode. And I don't even know where to start. Maybe we start with let's just, for something like this, it's the Coping Hour. We like to cover all the biggest stories. We try our hardest to cover them from all angles. I think this is one of those things that deserves to be, let's just take it from the top. Full transparency, the night that this happened, which was on Wednesday night, I had no idea until like an hour or two after the fact. So I don't have man, this was crazy live. I unfortunately was doing other things. I was busy. What was I doing? I was watching MasterChef Junior. We were having a cute little date night at home. I was not watching this live. I had no idea. And I checked my phone. One of the texts I had at the time was from Jacob, aka Rusty Buckets. All he said was, "You seeing this shit?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't know what he's talking about," but I honestly thought maybe we were getting bombed or something. I don't know why my brain didn't think it had anything to do with basketball. And then eventually I just, again, hours after the fact, right before I go to bed, I just see the headline, Bam Adebayo, breaks Kobe Bryant's record, which is one thing. Here's maybe the first piece of commentary. So people keep referencing, quote unquote, Kobe's record. And how, 81 points and how, Bam has surpassed that. And then you have this entire, actually crowd who's like, well, Kobe actually didn't have any record. There's no record to talk about because the real record is 100 from Wilt. Well, yeah, for sure. That's true. There is a record here, though, with Kobe's 81. How about the most points in an NBA game ever captured on camera? How about that? That's a record. The record for most points ever scored on camera is 81 by Kobe Bryant. So, boom, in your face. There is a record here that Bam Adebayo broke of Kobe Bryant's, and that is now the most points that has ever been scored on camera in the NBA. So, 83 points. Okay, so very cool. So, let's just start with the emails then. Let's start with you guys who, were watching this live, and then, immediately after. I as you can imagine, just within an hour span, I maybe 100 emails out of this world. copinghourSubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is they listen to this program. I don't even know. Should we just burn through a couple of them and maybe just commentate where we can? But let's just see. Let's hear from you guys how crazy this was. So first up, here's Drew. Bam Adebayo scored 83 points. Hey, Nick, just finished watching Heat Wizards, a pretty innocuous March game where Bam Adebayo went for 83, not a typo, 83 points. No idea what the radioactive fallout of this will be in NBA discourse, but my take is that if you're a team that's rostered to lose games on purpose, it is not unethical to embarrass them. Damn, I love that take. That's a great take. It was the one gripe I until both of us are dead and in the ground, I will always have about Steve Kerr, is that he never let the Hamptons 5 just go out and win by 200 points. He never let them do it. Steph and Clay and Andre Iguodala and Kevin Durant and Draymond Green. He never just let those guys go out and win by 500 points and let them play for 48 minutes. And I always resented him for that. And in this instance, the Hamptons 5 would just be Bam Adebayo. It would just be him. Simone Fontecchio had a good game. He had 18 points in this game. Fontecchio had a really nice game, all things considered. There was no Tyler Hero. There was no Norman Powell. And you talk about it being just a nuke for NBA discourse. Good grief, man. Nobody's excited about this at all, which I really think stinks. And I kind of wanted to save this piece of it for like later because I do think this is like a book. I just think I might get kind of soapboxy. So yeah, let's just save this. Let's just save this for later. Then let's just keep doing your email. Hilarious that Heat culture in 2026 is putting your 4 worst players on the corner with your franchise cornerstone to run up the score on a bum team, but again, not mad at it. Crazy that this random of a player, a guy whose previous career high was 41 and averages like 19, did that much damage, but that's what happens when you play the Washington Generals, I guess. Yeah, that's got to be the lowest hanging fruit, right? Is just calling the Wizards the Washington Generals, which you could have already been doing even before this happened, to be fair. And I'm sure even if it wouldn't be that hard, I'm sure even Wizards fans maybe make jokes about, calling their favorite team the Washington Generals. But really at this point, it's crazy. We were just here at home just the other day talking about the Globetrotters and how, just as a quick side piece, and how there was one point in my childhood that I don't remember why, but there was a moment where I almost got to go see the Globetrotters. That was maybe like 8 or 9. I don't know. And I didn't end up getting to go, and I was so bummed about it. To this day, I really think on some like inner child shit, I really want to see the Globetrotters because I just think just to heal my inner child, I think is to see the Globetrotters. I want to see them pull a guy's pants down from the Washington Generals and like dribble around his ankles like while they're on the floor. I just have always wanted to see that. That is effectively what Bam was doing to the Wizards, though. It's crazy, and maybe you mentioned this, and some of the other emails definitely will. Look, people are so mad about how many times Bam went to the free throw line in this thing. When like 40 of your points comes from the line, like that's crazy. You know what I mean? But my thing is like, I don't know, through the first 3 quarters, like he got to 60. Like if you are the guy who cares about the quote unquote ethical hooper shit, I thought the 60 he got was like pretty legit. Like if you're getting hacked, you're getting hacked. That's all that it is. The Wizards waited until he was at 60 to put more than 2 guys on him. It was crazy. And then at that point, it was them that were throwing 4 guys at him and just hacking him. Like he was getting hacked. He just was. He scores 30 points in that first quarter. Out of this world. I mean, out of this world. Some of the threes he was hitting. He did also shoot a lot of threes in this game, which is another piece of the discourse people are really upset about. When so what is it, like 50 points? 50 of the 30? I'm sorry, 50 of the 80 that he scored with the remainder of 30 came from either free throws or from 3. Yeah, I mean, he made 7 threes. And look, the box score isn't great, but I don't know. It was immediately reminiscent of when Devin Booker did this against Boston years ago. This was like way before even like the Suns became even kind of fun. Like this was just when they were in perpetual like dumpster territory. But like it was just like Devin Booker and friends was basically who the Suns were. And it was just like charming. Everybody liked Devin Booker. And then on one night, while the Suns were down by 1,000 points, Devin Booker just kind of was like, I'm just going to shoot the ball every single time we go down the floor. And that's exactly what he did. And he did not shoot the Suns back into the game, but he sure got his, you know what I mean? And so like, I didn't care at the time. I just thought it was cool to see that number in a box score. It was a 70 or maybe on the dot or whatever it was. I just hadn't, I don't know. I was just really excited to see that. But the discourse was immediately like, wow, this was loser shit. And this doesn't even matter. The context of it doesn't matter because they were down by 1,000 and all he did was just shoot every single time. And I was like, I don't know. He still had to make the shots though. It's just my kind of thing. We still had to make the shots. And then we also kind of see all the time, like, I don't know. We see all the time players who will get to a crazy number, like super early, relatively early in a game. Like when Luka had, was it 74 that Luka had? Dog, he could have gone for 100 in that game, like 100%. He could have gone for 100. I swear at least twice, I couldn't tell you either instance, but I swear at least twice in Dame's career, there was a game where if he really wanted to, he could have gone for 81. He 100% could have. But most of these guys just kind of have I don't want to say the dignity or like the respect, the self-respect, whatever. Because maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe who cares to check out of the game. Maybe, because maybe to your point in the email, what you said earlier, like if you're going to structure your roster in a way that you are maximizing your ability to lose games, Well, then get ready to fucking, have Bam Adebayo get ready to learn Bam Adebayo scoring 83, buddy. You know what I mean? That's what's going to happen. And so I do kind of commend Bam for that. Fuck that. Who cares? Because it is the middle of March. And otherwise, these games are super meaningless. And so I really think this is what it's coming down to. And I was going to save this for later too, but we're already doing it. So let's just do it. The same thing. It's hard to, it's hard to, everybody's saying this, man. If you before the season were like, you were told, hey, somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to break Kobe's 81. And I'm going to give you 50 guesses as to who it is. And if you get it right, you get $1 million. I don't think Bam's. I get 50 guesses. I think pretty comfortably I'm not picking him. I'm just not. Nobody would have. And I think that's really hard for people to digest right now. I mean, you had an entire generation of people who Kobe was their god. And I think those people right now, I wonder if those people right now, if they realized how important that number was and how important the mythology of that game was against Toronto when Kobe had 81, I wonder if they realized, in retrospect, just the way that people are losing their minds over this and doing whatever they can to, like, disqualify. Like, people are going to try to take this shit to the Supreme Court. Like, for real. Like, people are mad that of all people to, like, disrupt this all-time mythology, like, iconic moment in NBA history from, like, one of its most iconic players of all time, and especially of the last 25 years. Like, it's Kobe Bean Bryant. That guy's, again, record, most points ever scored, on TV in an NBA game. That record was just broken by Bam Adebayo. Like, if it was anybody else, if it was LeBron, which he's just never really cared about hunting these kind of records. What's LeBron's high? Like, I think maybe 61. And that was just kind of an anomaly. Like, he could get 50, but then it's just kind of like, that's all it's going to be. If it was Steph, if it was like Giannis, or like, you know what I mean? Like, if it was Jokic, or just like there are so many other guys like Anthony Edwards. Did I already say Luka? Like, you know what I mean? There are guys who, if it fit into what we foresee a player's legacy to be, even legacy like future tense, like if we want to do the face of the league shit with Anthony Edwards, well, if he was one of the guys to do this, then like, well, that look on paper, that looks good for his story. You know what I mean? That like, yeah, Anthony Edwards was the one that topped Kobe's 81 and blah, blah, blah. But it was Bam Adebayo. I think that's a lot harder for people to stomach. The people who really care about like the narrative, like the historical narrative of what that record meant, and the player what that number 81 meant, and the player that held it, and I just think it's hard for people to stomach. But I really think it's just maybe this just the ultimate take is like, it really is just an indictment on how good the league is. Yeah, any guy can do it. Yeah, Bam can do it. And by the way, like, just to be fair, everybody's just kind of, people are doing the thing with Bam right now it's not the same thing, but you'll know what I mean. Like, when Luka got traded for Anthony Davis and everybody was treating Anthony Davis like he was a Make-A-Wish kid, it's like, well, the truth is that, Anthony Davis on his best day, at his most healthiest days, is like one of the 3 best defenders I've probably ever seen in my life, And when he's really on, he might be one of the 5 best players in the world. Like, still, he might be. I mean, we haven't really seen that version of him in, like, a while. I guess even, like, a year ago, we got, like, 2 minutes of it when he debuted for the Mavs, That guy, when he's in there, because he is still kind of in there, like, he's really good. But because of the context of the trade, like, people were just so mean about Anthony Davis. I really think it's the same thing here. Like, I don't know. I can't promise that if Jaylen Duren wasn't exactly as good as he is this year, that I wouldn't have otherwise at some point this season floated out there like, maybe we should go get Bam. But I haven't had to do that because Duren's been so good. I'm pretty sure I did that like 5 times last year. I probably did it 10 times over the offseason. Bam Adebayo is a guy that I have really liked forever, and especially liked as a candidate for the Detroit Pistons. So, like, and by the way, has played well in the finals. I think there was maybe one or two games against Denver that he really got skunked. But I remember it was at game 4 or game 5 against the Lakers in the finals that Bam was good. Like, Bam is a performer. Like, that's a real basketball player. So, like, it's not that crazy that I mean, it just is. It's not that crazy. You know, we know he's a good player, so it's not that crazy that he got 83. It's fucking insane. All right, it's insane that Bam got 83. But I think it's just a testament to how good and how talented the league is, right? And then this is another sort of copycat take that everybody's kind of having right now, but you do wonder if it emboldens other guys like the Anthony Edwards of the world. Or is Devin Booker playing right now? Is he hurt? What's going on with him? You know, these massive performances, the Lucas of the world. You know, it's too bad. Like that is Trae Young. What's going on with Trae? What the hell's going on with him? It's too bad Dame's not playing right now. Like, just somebody. Does it kind of like, you know, like stoke the embers of like who is somebody going to go get 85? You know, if these games don't matter and teams are otherwise trying to lose, like, why don't you just say fuck it and say, I'm just going to shoot the ball every single time? I mean, the social media is going to get mad at you if you do it. Apparently, social media is going to get really mad at you if you do it. Let's finish up this email, though, because I do want to get through a couple more. This is just the end of it. You say, I'm curious about who will do this next. Well, that's a good segue. If you were a coach, who would you give the ball to go for 100? I put my money on Jokic personally because he's the best blender of effortless free points and ability to hit threes and score in other ways. We wish Bathroom Tom well. Yeah, we did not get an email from him. There are a couple emails here that gave shouts to Bathroom Tom and wanted to hear his take. We didn't get anything from him on this. He's in France right now, so maybe that's why. It's maybe the time difference. It took him a little bit to get caught up. He's rubbing his damn eyes like a Looney Tunes character. Who would I give the ball to though? If I need 100, I mean, Jokic is a good. It's a good answer. You look at the Jokic's of the world, the Sheas of the world. I would consider if I get one game, management says, all right, coach, you get one game to pick a guy to go get 100, and if you do, we'll give you a 5-year extension and we'll pay you $15 million. I don't know why we would do this. This is terrible business by the organization, but we are trying to do right by the fans, and Adam Silver put the call into. That's what it is. They're probably in back channels right now being like, we need somebody to go break Wilt's record, but we need it to be like a weeks-long saga, right? And so incrementally we're going to get there. So who's going to get the call next? I'm just looking at a guy like LaMelo. I don't know. Some of these shots he's been hitting late in games where he's 35 feet away from the basket and he's on one leg and he just kind of like, he doesn't really even he doesn't shoot the ball in like a conventional shooting the basketball way where you kind of, I don't know, we all have like a sort of, the technique of shooting a basketball, like just what it's rhythmically supposed to look like. But LaMelo does the kind of like, he literally just kind of like chucks the ball thing, like with both hands. He's like, there's a lot of like, in LaMelo's shot. But he just makes them. He just makes them. A guy that I don't really think is going to get that tired. I mean, a guy like him, with how much of a a jump shooter he is, if he loses his legs, it's like, well, I don't know. He just kind of be chucking the ball anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm looking at a guy like him for sure. I'm looking at Anthony Edwards. But like I would say this, just so like, hey, no home cooking shit. I'm not picking Cade. I don't think Cade's gonna. Wouldn't be very interesting. The way that he would get 200, it would be like a real slow burn. It wouldn't be interesting I don't think to watch Cade go get 100. I mean, it would rock, but Giannis, I would bet on Giannis. Yeah, if I'm Doc Rivers and it's like, hey, I might retire at the end of the year and I don't have anything to hang my hat on because I haven't done anything meaningful in 18 years as a basketball coach, by the way. But I was the coach when Giannis went for 100. Let's do a different email, folks. copinghoursubs@gmail.com. Spelled phonetically, email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. Let's do this one from Landon. Bam had 83. Like what? Like, huh? Like, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Because it used to be that Kobe had the second most points ever in an NBA game, and now it's Bam Adebayo. What is going on? I'm in disbelief. Not that the record was broken, but that it was Bam Adebayo. Like in 20 years, my son will ask how good the guy with the second most points ever was, and I'm going to have to explain that he was a solid all-star who was a good number 2 option for a Cinderella story runner-up at his best. Yeah, right. Right. The context of this is just so... is very bizarre. It's very bizarre. But I don't think, and people are going to say that it is this massive indictment on the way that the modern game is played, and that, the whistles that these offensive players get, which they do, which is a problem. Like the way the game is officiated, like there needs to be some really disruptive changes brought to the NBA. There really does. Like that can be true for sure. But I also, again, I just think the tape kind of speaks for itself. Like, I just think he was kind of getting hacked. Like, I just think that's it. And I don't know, like, I don't know if there's a reliable number out there for something like this yet. But, like, on any given night, that, like, perfect storm of just kind of making the right sequence of shots and, like, just getting the ball at the right time and, like, having a hot hand. Like, that's a real thing in these kind of sports. Like, when the ball is going in, it's just kind of going in, and you're shooting the ball into the ocean. You know what I mean? So, like, the perfect storm of getting this many whistles and, like, just saying, and also playing a team like Washington. Like, I don't know how to ask, or, like, how to say this, or, like, but, like, this, like, the probability of everything going as perfectly as it did for Bam Adebayo is, for a guy like him, is it 1 in a trillion? You know what I mean? Like, what are the odds? How many times does that exact game with those exact variables get simulated before you get this exact outcome again, where Bam Adebayo has 83 points? And I don't know, but that's to your point about, like, the context of what this means. And I, again, it goes back to why I think some people are trying to just be like, I ignore this and to pretend that this isn't a real thing, is because it is so disruptive to somebody that they have, held in such a high regard forever, for the last 20 years since he broke the record. And it's Bam. It's Bam. Again, if it was like imagine if Harden did this 8 years ago in Houston, we'd be like, fuck yes. That would have, no, we wouldn't have. No, that's revisionist. No, people would have been so damn mad. But I think at the very least, people by now would have come around on it and been like, yeah, whatever, that made sense. And it would have, it's really too bad he didn't, because it would have been such a funny, all due respect to those Rockets teams, because the 17-18 Rockets are the best team in the history of the NBA to not win a championship. So all due respect to them and all, but it really would be funny if the biggest feather in the cap of, like, the Harden Rockets and, like, the Daryl Morey Rockets was that James Harden broke Kobe's 81. Like, that would be funny if that was the most meaningful and unfortunately, we don't even have that. But, like, the way that people are talking about Bam now and how much of a travesty it is, I don't know if it's gonna change, because the way that people are otherwise viewing the NBA right now, and, like, just sort of basketball as a whole, I guess I don't really say it's basketball's problem. It is just an NBA problem. Something like this doesn't help, because it's too weird. It's too weird. We keep using the word disruptive, but, like, that is what it's too much. It's too much. We need, like, crazy rule changes. We didn't need, like, somebody crazy, like, breaking it. You know what I mean? Like, the single most iconic, like, landmark. It's not, it's such a tricky thing to explain. Like, I really think, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I really do think there is just, like, a generational thing that's starting to happen, where, like, people who were born, like, the year that Kobe scored 81 or even after, like, those are, like, real adults now. Like, those are real adults now who are, like, interacting in, like, major social spaces, And so, like, their opinions getting amplified, where they kind of just, like, I don't know, man. There was I don't know how to say this without, like, it sounding a certain way. But there did used to be a time when bringing up Kobe's sort of, like, Colorado chapter of his life was, like, a total social taboo, and, like, you did not bring that shit up at all. And if you did, it was just kind of met with, like, la 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 la. You know what I mean? You just kind of didn't talk about it. But then again, you had, like, an entire generation of people who were kind of, like, not around for that, and then, like, when he died, like, they kind of just did what they did with everything else, and they just, like, I don't want to say satirized it. They just, like, would post pictures of his autopsy in, like, the NBA Circle Jerk subreddits and just, like, laugh and, like, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, like, dead rapist and, shit like that. Like, it really sucks, man. But like, I see what I mean? Like, I don't want to say, like, it's good that it's too bad that people bring that shit up now. No, I know, but it's just sort of the way that he's talked about is just different to me now, or at least it seems different. And so I just think that I just think it's strange to watch different people react to like this record. Again, it is a record. I keep calling it a damn record and it's not, but it just speaks more to like how we viewed it when it happened. And then up until a couple days ago, how we viewed it. We don't have footage of Wilt scoring 100. It's just a thing that we know that happened. But this was like the performance. This was like the number. And like one day, this is like the other piece of it. It's like one day, and this is, I don't know if people are braced for this. One day, when somebody breaks 100, so what happens when it's Austin Reeves? It's like I really wonder if we were just better off if this record is not allowed to be broken. If as soon as a player gets to 99, it's like the game is canceled. The game is canceled. You get yanked from the game. You are not allowed to play anymore. Somebody makes a call. You cannot play in the game anymore. Because it's just going to break people's brains if it's not the perfect fairy tale. If it's not LeBron's last game of his career, and if he doesn't score 101 points, I don't think anybody is allowed to do it. Because what happens when it's not the guy that we all are kind of expecting it to be? I don't know. But I suspect that it would get nasty. Because at this point, what happens? Let's just use Austin Reeves again as an example. So what happens if he scores 85 next week? Then what happens? Because I don't... Are we then at a like I really can't even I don't know I can't even think of a hole to go down how people would how would they would possibly react to that. We do have an email from a Heat fan that I wanted to read. This is the last one that we'll do, and maybe we'll put a bow on the Bam stuff. Maybe I'm just running out of things to say, but there's this one Heat fan with their perspective. Jonathan says, "Hey, Nick, I don't know the extent of the Miami Heat coping hour constituency, but holy shit, I am enjoying my night playing Marathon, and I start getting texts about the Heat game. This was when he had 30 in the first quarter. All of the haters can fuck off with putting an asterisk on this because of free throws. Such a moment of vindication as a big Bam fan after the struggles he had earlier this year." So that's kind of it, just immediately denouncing the asterisk crowd. I think that's where I'm at, too. I've waited. It's been about 48 hours since it happened as of this taping. And I think I've officially processed that it happened. I was pretty slow on that one. I was trying to text people about this the other day, but they were just asking so many questions and like, what does this mean? Like, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And I was just like, I still just haven't digested that it fucking happened. I'm just not there yet. I wasn't trying to speed run the discourse here. Like, who knows when this is going to happen again, when something like this can happen again. So I'm really just letting all of this kind of sink in. And so that's why I'm just kind of like pro it. I'm just like pro that it happened. Because it seems like right now you got to be one or the other. Either you're like, oh, cool, Bam at 83. That's it. And then you're just kind of like, but you're not like over the moon. It's like the spectrums are not even. You know, because like the people who are pissed about this and like O'Shea Jackson Jr. just having like a full like a full blown like Aisha Curry moment, like fucking sorry, I just saw it live, like it's rigged for damn bro, just get it out. People are upset about this, man, but not as upset. People are not as like, you know what I mean? People aren't as like excited about this as they are angry about this. So I think I'm just like, cool for Bam Adebayo. Sticking with NBA, there is an email. So I read the beginning of this email, and then I stopped because it seemed like it might be good enough that we can blind read it. And but that also means that if it doesn't go well, then you know what I mean. It's just we're really taking a gamble here. But it seems like it could be fun to do one of these in this episode. So the subject line here is Jaylen Brown's brilliant mind proof. Parenthetically, not clickbait. This comes into us from Aiden. Aiden, what's up, brother? Hear ye. I come to disprove once and for all your Jaylen Brown secret imbecile theory. I cannot make any promises regarding the quality of this email, as I am writing barside with the influence of 5 Corona Lights. But did Paul Revere wait to alert the citizens of the British threat lurking on the horizon? Regardless, I bring with me indisputable proof that Jaylen Brown is, in fact, a modern-day genius. And this is where I stopped reading, as you can see. I was like, okay, I'm hooked. Let's just roll the dice. So let's see if this is a good email. You see, sitting next to me at this bar is a man with many connections in the city of Boston. Without getting too federal, I have seen with my own eyes indisputable proof that he is personally acquainted with the Celtics roster, even sharing anecdotes of the starting five's parents. Okay. Now to my point. I was told directly, and I quote, Jaylen is brilliant, man, unquote. A bold statement, right? Backing this statement, however, I have received insider info that the science guy, in parentheses, you wrote William Nye. Only people who don't know him call him Bill. His friends call him William. They call him William Nye, the science guy. The science guy himself was present for the release of Brown's 741 Performance sneaker line, which took place at none other than Boston Museum of Science. Do you think he would show face for just any average Joe? Do you think Boston's premier science museum would host the event of a moron? I have my doubts. Quickly losing steam, so I don't have anything else to say about this. Let me know what you think. Obligatory music take. The new Concrete Boys Volume 2 Absolute is certified mid, and Caribou's departure killed their buzz. No need to read this a lot. Well, all right. Okay. I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you at all. I thought Volume 2 fucked super hard, actually. So that's too bad. I'm trying desperately, though, to figure out. So what's the counter? So I'm just trying to think on my feet here. What is the counter for me if Jaylen Brown launched a sneaker and had Bill Nye at the event, which was held at a museum, for smart people? So what's the counter there? I don't know. I don't think I have one because you could only do it if you disparage Bill Nye the science guy. Bill. It is one of the things, what I will give a like on every single time, those like millennial ass posts where it's like, things only 90s kids grew up with. The only thing that'll get me every single time was when it's like, ooh, when the teacher wheeled this into the room, like you knew it was going to be a good day. And it was like the big ass TV, like on the cart. You know what I'm talking about? It'll get me every single time. But that nostalgia bait will get me every single time partially because the images that I associate with that TV and that like setup in a classroom is, everybody with me, Bill Nye the science guy. So, I mean, it's a good guy to have in your corner. It's really, really too bad that Steve Irwin's dead, man, and has been forever for my whole life at this point. At this point, Steve Irwin has been out of my life for longer than he was in it. And his son's getting like DUIs or some shit. Didn't he get arrested for stiffing a bill at a... No, so that was a bad headline. That was a hatchet job. That's not really what happened there. Believe he's a good kid. I think he just gets sort of a bad shake in the media. Steve Irwin's kid. Robert Irwin, that's his name, right? Rest man Steve Irwin. Come on, man. What am I supposed to say? Well, what bothered me, and I was super flighty about this at the time that he said it, because I just wasn't in the mood to do the whole can of worms and present every single side of it fairly. I really only wanted to do my side of it, and I knew that wasn't going to be nice, and it wasn't going to be fair, and it wasn't going to be, productive, blah, blah, blah. So I just didn't say anything. Now we're far enough removed from it, and I don't really care anymore. That it's like, all right, well, I'll say this. So the last time, I think one of the reasons you're saying this, for something that I otherwise stopped bringing up completely, was like the whole is Jaylen Brown a dumb guy thing. I kind of just gave up because, to your point and what you said in here, I kind of don't think he is, but sometimes I just think he kind of might be. Sometimes that superficial shit just like really shines through. So like at All-Star Weekend, when, there's kind of like one of those like plant questions of like, hey, Jaylen, there's a lot of shit going on in the world. Do you have anything that you want to say? And Jaylen, his quote was like, it's not verbatim, but essentially verbatim to some effect. This was what it was. There's a lot of bad shit happening in the world right now. People should speak up about all of them. It's important that people use their voices to talk about things that they're passionate about. There are like a lot of things that people should be passionate about. And I'm like, go ahead and name one of them. Go ahead and name one of the bad things that's up. You know what I mean? Like if they're so bad and it's important to use your voice. And then he said something about like, people shouldn't be afraid about like, the people above them and like the consequences to their words and shit like that. And I'm like, well, you're the one being kind of evasive about saying like anything meaningful about, anything meaningful at all. And you're just kind of like when you do the super blanketed, like there's so many bad things in the world right now and people should really use their voices. It's like, I hear what you're saying, Jaylen Brown, but I don't think you hear what you're saying. And it's like, okay, maybe, sometimes we shouldn't expect these athletes to like have a stance on shit, but it's like, right. But if you're going to nudge people in the direction of having a stance on certain shit, then shouldn't you not also then stand in the shit with the people that are standing on the shit in the first, this is shitception here. I don't know whose shit are we standing in and whose shit are we standing on. I don't know, man. I just thought he didn't stand on for fucking anything. He knelt in the shit, Colin Kaepernick style. He knelt in the shit and he didn't say anything at all. And I thought it came off as superficial and dumb. But I don't have a counter for this otherwise. So fine, Jaylen Brown can be a smart guy, but we're going to have to do a different email because I don't have anything to say to it. Hey, this is a developing story. This has only been going on for a few days now, so I don't even have all of this correct, and so maybe in the couple emails that are here, maybe I'll be helped out here. So this Maxx Crosby business. Let's switch gears very quickly to the NFL. We got the combine happened and free agency going on and all this stuff, and okay, we got a lot of movement in the NFL, and the new league year opening up and all this stuff and. Okay, so Maxx Crosby gets traded from the Raiders, and he gets sent to the Ravens for like 2 first-round picks. Okay, all right. And then we just find out the other night that the Ravens backed out of the trade at the last minute right before the league year opened. And we found out shortly thereafter it was because they didn't like what they saw in his physical. Because Maxx Crosby had recently had surgery on his knee, I believe, at the end of the season. And so, we knew that. We knew that. That happened very publicly. We knew that happened, right? The Ravens got cold feet. They said no. They sent him back, and they got their 2 first-round picks back. And then immediately after the league year opened, they signed Trey Hendrickson, a guy of an equal position from the Cincinnati Bengals, a guy who also just had surgery on like his hip and is injured basically as much, if not more, than Maxx Crosby is. But okay, definitely some funny business there. So that's kind of what this is about. This comes into us from Charlie. Charlie, welcome to the show, brother. Subject line: No Maxx Crosby in the AFC North. How crazy is this? First Mark Williams, now Maxx Crosby. Can you think of any other times a trade got canceled due to medical reasons? It must have been really bad to not want Maxx Crosby. As a Bengals fan, I am delighted. Go Joe! I believe you're a Bengals fan. That's very authentic Bengals fan behavior to just sort of go Joe Burrow. Yeah. If Joe Burrow is my quarterback, I would also pepper in go Joe, all the time. It'd sort of become part of my, like instead of saying like LOL or like Lamau or something like that, I would just say go Joe at the end of everything. If he was my quarterback. Yeah. You say, side note, I am watching NBA on Peacock right now, and this shit sucks. Well, hold on. Let's keep this about the NFL, because I want to stay on this. You say, last thought, Malik Willis is going to be an awesome fantasy quarterback next year, but don't draft him higher than the 5th round. We need to go on a slam campaign to lower his draft stock. The fantasy experts will definitely have him as their hidden gem, which will ruin his low round value. I agree with you at the end that I think people are going to trick themselves into thinking that Malik Willis is like going to be fun to draft for fantasy. I wouldn't draft him unless it was like the 11th round, like as a backup quarterback, like it's late in the. No fucking shot. No shot. No. How many times ever, by the way, has it worked for a team that paid a guy that was a starter or was never a starter and was a backup and played like 6 games and looked pretty good in those 6 games? What positive has ever come out of that guy getting paid? Because the obvious one that everybody's doing is like Matt Flynn. You know what I mean? Do you remember when Malik Willis? There were like rumors leading into the draft that he was going to be like the 2nd pick, and like his agent was doing like crazy nasty business before the draft, like having his name pumped up, and then he fell to like the 150th pick, and that didn't really. So like I just think there was maybe a reason for that. So I think you're right that people are going to get tricked into thinking that he's going to be a good fantasy quarterback. I just think he's going to stink. But actually, so you sent in a follow-up email. You said, in regards to Malik Willis, maybe we lower his draft stock by releasing a picture of him with a weird elbow, like with what happened to Jaden Daniels. I'm just spitballing here. What the fuck are you talking about? Let me know if you have any other good ideas. If Coping Hour Nation works together on this, we could definitely spread enough misinformation on Malik Willis to lower his fantasy value. You don't need to do he'll do it himself. It'll go into the economy itself. This will work itself out. The stock will short itself, brother. Like, you don't need to do this. It's Malik Willis. I think he'll be there in the 9th round. Like, I think he'll be there. I think he'll be fine. You say one last thing. You don't have to read this. Well, this is something nice about me. Well, thank you very much. You say at the end of this, then at the end, you send in a third follow-up email, which was about Bam Adebayo. We'll get your reaction in here. You say, I am not telling my kids that Bam scored more points in a game than Kobe. And there you go. People are upset about this. People are upset that this is like one of Kobe's things that it's just gone. It's one of the biggest. It's just gone. People are upset about that, man. Okay, so that was so I thought there was going to be more about Maxx Crosby here than there actually was. It's just funny to get that from a Bengals fan, and then you send all these follow-up emails, but none about Trey Hendrickson then going to the Ravens. Well, clearly some funny business happened here, and the word so far has been that it may affect in the near future, if not in the distant future, how teams or which teams even do business with Baltimore in the first place, because this has been viewed as so greasy and so slimy on their behalf to just kind of back out of this. They got cold feet, and they were getting buyer's remorse is really all that it is. Now, what scares me is that this just reopens the door, because this was perfect. Honestly, this was perfect. I was really excited for this. I was really excited for him to be in Baltimore. I think a lot of us were. Bengals fans certainly weren't. There were some very funny graphics that had been made up about like, damn, so he's going against like TJ Watt and Maxx Crosby and Myles Garrett, and like, damn. And so then that was gone, and then boom, and then they got Hendrickson, and so then maybe that it doesn't matter maybe as much as it would have for Maxx Crosby. It just stinks. Well, I was excited because he was still out of the NFC. It's like, okay, well, he still don't really have to worry about him as much. And more importantly, the Bears didn't get him. Ooh, I was getting worried. Ooh, I was getting fear-mongered to all hell by the Bears fans, man. By the people local here. I really believed that they were getting Maxx Crosby. Well, now that's back on the table. People float Dallas out of this world. Insanity. Look, there have been a few whispers about Detroit. It's brutal offseason so far for Detroit. I'm not even there. I'm not even ready to talk about the whole Sonic and Knuckles breakup and David Montgomery being gone. Man, you talk about a soul for a soul. Justin Verlander comes back to town, but we got to lose David Montgomery. Man, if that's not the business. Oh, man. I'm not ready to talk about it yet. I'm serious. I'm really upset about it. Although Checo, woo, Isaiah Pacheco, people making a lot of fun of the Lions for signing Pacheco. They say Isaiah Pacheco stinks. They say he is not good anymore. He was good for like a year and a half, and that's it. I say I don't care. He is getting paid like $1 million this year, and that's kind of it for 1 year. So it kind of doesn't matter. And then we'll see. And then from there, we'll see. CopingHourSubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. So let's finish. We'll do this. We'll do 2 more emails. This one comes into us from Justin. Justin, welcome to the show, brother. Subject line, Midwest music scene and third-person ball knowledge. Bonjour, Mr. Town. Long time, first time. I'm coming to you live from someone else's basement with one question and one piece of personal self-reflection. Music first. I grew up and currently reside in upstate New York, sort of near Albany, and we have a fairly robust local punk/emo scene, but you as a Michigander hail from the mecca of Midwest emo. Did you run into the Midwest emo scene much growing up? A few of my favorite bands, namely Hot Mulligan and Saturdays at Your Place, mentioned growing up in the Midwest quite a bit. Did you or any friends / acquaintances of yours run in your local music scene? And then the second part of the email is something completely different. I gotta say, first of all, brother, when I first read this email, we have never talked about this on the show ever. You saying like the Midwest, like punk emo, what the fuck did you say? The Mecca? Yeah, I had never heard it referred to that way before, but like, I guess subconsciously I did kind of know that was true. We've just never talked about this. I appreciate you sending this in, because I do actually have some stuff on this. Yeah, house shows are huge. House shows are huge in the Midwest for like what you're talking about here, like this like punk scene. We had a house show at our house once. My sister, for her Sweet 16, had like a big party, and then like, yeah, at some point at night, people just started going nuts with like guitars and drums and shit, and they just like played a house show in our living room, and me as like a 10-year-old was fucking scared as hell, and was just in my room like trying to play, I think like NBA Live like '08 maybe on PS2. There's a house show going on. Yeah, and then my brother-in-law, Maddie's youngest brother, he's in a band, and he's like toured like 4 different, like he'll go from like Michigan to Wisconsin to like Indiana to like Ohio and shit, and they'll just like play in people's houses, and he just plays bass. And yeah, we went to one of his shows once. So we went to one of his shows here in Chicago, which was also effectively a house show. It's basically just in somebody's attic. It was wild. Yeah. And then where sorry, I just smashed the table. So where I grew up in Michigan, I don't remember if this is always like where it was. Is it Bloodfest? Is that what it was called? I should ask Maddie about this, because this was really Maddie, my girlfriend. This was her whole life as a kid. Like when we're in the car, like, you know, we're driving to Target or something. If we're listening to her DJX, it's like, you know, like Law Dispute and like Brand New and what are the other ones that she? Damn it! She's gonna be so mad that I can't remember. She's gonna be so like a dog shitting razor blades. What's that song? What's that? Like a dog shitting razor blades. I'm gonna be so mad. Law Dispute. I don't remember. Yeah, no. We when we were growing up, there was a festival for like these types of bands, like the punk shit. It's called Bloodfest, and for a couple years at least, they would hold it at a decommissioned high school, and so the stages would just be classrooms and shit like that. And so like that's just what you're talking about, like, you know, what you're talking about here about like the sort of the mecca of like, yeah, man, like that's just kind of what we do. It's really cool. It's super metal. It's super hardcore, and that's kind of all that I have on it, I guess. But yeah, like the people who are sort of, you know, people in my immediate family are involved in that community. And then even as a kid, like, it's funny. As a kid, I didn't really think anything of it. I was like, yeah, it makes sense that people would come in here and just like play a concert in our house, like do a hashtag show in our house. Yeah. But in retrospect, yeah, that's just what it was. I remember the house was shaking. I was so fucking scared, man. As a kid, I was so, oh man, I was so scared. The second part of your email was about sports. You said obligatory sports reflection. So I remodel houses for work, and I get a lot of passive listening time, either sports podcasts or music mostly. But I've been taking audiobooks for a spin recently. With consuming so much sports media on the daily between Bill Simmons, Zach Lowe, Russillo, the boys at the Ringer NFL Draft Show, and the Coping Hour, I feel that I can hang in most sports conversations. Whether out in the wild, chopping it up with civilians, or at Sunday dinner with my dad and brothers, I've got my finger on the pulse of the sports zeitgeist. But here's the kicker. I don't watch the games. Hit me with the classic icebreaker of, did you catch the game last night? And I'll reply with a chipper, nope, but I listened to 45 minutes of Bill and Zach breaking it down, the full weekend slate, and I'm considering buying a bungalow on Scotty Barnes Island. Turns out when the games are on, I'd much rather watch a show with my wife, go to band practice, or work on a project. But when I've got a mindless task to complete, I'll be plugged into the sports media landscape. Just pondering this while I paint the walls in a soon-to-be finished basement. Thanks for your time, brother. Yeah, thank you for this, man. It's crazy to me. I guess what's crazy to me is that it's as common as it is, but it's as common as it is for people who actually have to otherwise have real takes about it and actually like be on TV and stuff. Like it really stinks when it comes off, like when you're watching a Colin Cowherd or something, and you can tell that you're just like the notes that he would have gotten from a production meeting about like, hey, your assignment was to watch the Knicks last night because I'm going to be doing a segment about it. You know what I mean? And I don't want to, oh, well, maybe your first mistake was that you shouldn't be watching Colin Cowherd. In 2026, there's still nobody who could make the analogy, here's why the New England Patriots are like Terminal 3 at Los Angeles International Airport. There's still nobody who can make that analogy and explain it as thoroughly as he can and make it seem like it's on a whim. Although that's not fucking true. It's always super canned and rehearsed with him. But it still makes sense. And even if it doesn't, the television is compelling. And the way that he speaks is compelling. It's really good background noise. And in a lot of ways, when I watch Cowherd during the day, or I really just I don't watch First Take anymore. I just can't do it. I watch a lot of the Fox programming. So like First Things First, so like Nick Wright and Broussard and shit like that. I don't really have like daytime soap operas that I'd be watching. It's really either like sports or The Price is Right. Sports, The Price is Right. I've been watching a lot of Let's Make a Deal lately. And I really admire the sort of yin and yang that Let's Make a Deal and The Price is Right have, where it's the same show, but there's just enough of a little bit of a zip to make the shows different. And then I also had this bit that I wanted to do. I don't think Let's Make a Deal is on the air anymore. But if it were, I think the bit that I would, maybe it is, but what I want to do is go on that show, but just pretend that Wayne Brady is Steve Harvey. So like if he, when you go on that show, you have to wear a costume. So let's say I'm like Mr. Potato Head and he's looking for a contestant because he's got an envelope. And he's like, you, Mr. Potato Head. And I go up there and I'm like, oh my God, what's up, Steve? Like, I love this show. And he's going to be like, okay, like, what are you dressed as today? And I'm like, I'm a potato today, Steve. Like, will you say the line, Steve? Will you say the thing? And he's going to and then it goes on like that for a little bit, and then eventually he's, do you think I'm Steve Harvey? Yeah, and I haven't, we'll iron it out later. But I also had this idea, I don't know if this is actually a good idea, but what if you gave away on like Let's Make a Deal or The Price is Right, like an opportunity to be on a different show? So like if this was, because this show's not on anymore, but if this was 10, 15 years ago, if you were on The Price is Right, could you like win could part of your showcase be that you get to go be on Deal or No Deal? You know what I mean? Or like you get to go be on Wheel of Fortune or something like that. Is that like well, I guess it would have to be a game show that would be on would it have to be on an affiliate network? I guess it would be weird because The Price is Right acts as like, it's one big commercial is what it is. So if you do, because what is The Price is Right? CBS. So what's like Wheel of Fortune? I think that's NBC maybe. Let's say it's The Floor. Let's say it's Rob Lowe's The Floor. Which, if you're on this episode of The Price is Right, well, if you had to bid on that though, if you had to bid to be a contestant on Rob Lowe's The Floor, what's that even worth? If you're trying to get up onto the stage, or if this is your showcase in the Showcase Showdown, what the hell is that even? What does that set you back? If you went to the producers and you said, here's $2,000 cash, can I be on the show? Is that enough for Rob Lowe's The Floor? $2,000? I don't even know, by the way, how much money do you even win money on that show? It really seems like it might be a show that you get tickets for, and you can, like it's an arcade, so to speak, and you exchange them for like a big stuffed bear or something. I don't think Rob Lowe's The Floor is giving out $1,100,000. I gotta tell you, and Maddie said this. Maddie was she was ahead of me on this. She said it out loud. I did not say this. We were watching the British version of Deal or No Deal, and I didn't realize how. I don't know. I still don't even know how to say it. Man, look how they killed our boy. So, ladies and gentlemen, folks out there, you remember Deal or No Deal and how he would come out in his big bald head and his sometimes glasses. Well, in the later seasons, he would wear glasses. it's this big extravagant set and these big lights and these big, you know, just strobes and shit like that. And then they got these 30, 25 women who will come over and they're all wearing the same dress and they all sort of look alike. And it's, you know what I mean? It's this big spectacle, right? In the British Deal or No Deal, well, they're just kind of in like a room. Like it's like I don't know, like they're just kind of in like a room. And instead of girls, it's like 25, just like people. Like they just went and got 25 people. And they are all you learn their personalities a little bit. So and by the way, you can only win like $100,000. What the hell? And Maddie was watching this and she was like, so they took away the stakes. She's like, they took away the money and the whores. She's like, that's why we're watching this is why we watched the American Deal or No Deal. And it was crazy. But it was really just the way that they valued the money that I admired on British Deal or No Deal. You know, this old woman, she's in her 60s or 70s or something. And she just was at $2,500. She was beside herself. She couldn't believe it. $2,500 is a lot of money for sure. But if you got $2,500 right now, I don't know if you're living on your own, how long is that lasting you? That's gone on a month at least. For some of you, that's going to be like rent or like your mortgage or something like that. So like $2,500. Yes, it is very, very nice and could be, it's not life-changing money. It's like month-changing money. Like it'll save you for like a month for sure. It could get you out of like a really bad immediate pinch. You know what I mean? Oh, my car has just exploded and I need this one. Yeah, I could get you out of $2,500 is good, like get you out of a bad spot amount of money. And then that's kind of it. And then you're just kind of back at square one. But I really admired how much that the woman admired $2,500 and she was just excited to get that. Whereas on like American Deal or No Deal, $2,500 might as well not even be on the show. You're still just at that point, you're just opening cases until you get 50 cents or something like that. And then that's all you get to go home with or something. I don't know. Let's wrap up the show. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. The Oscars are going to be on Sunday. And instead of doing picks, we're just going to let's just talk about the field a little bit. Let's talk about some of these movies because I don't know what my picks are going to be. I still don't know. I'm not going to be able to. Selection Sunday for my little competition isn't until Sunday before the actual awards happen. So I can't tell you. I mean, I know that no matter what, Leo is going to be winning Best Actor however I do this. That is what I will be taking. But let's do this from Harry. Harry, what's up, brother? You say bonsoir, Nick. Obligatory culture take at the top regarding Best Picture nominees. This is your good zone. So this is like the top of your pyramid. The good zone, One Battle After Another, Marty Supreme, The Secret Agent, and Sinners. Any list that starts with One Battle After Another at number one is good with me. That's the right list, I believe. Is it looking good for Best Picture? Because I think for as strange of an award season as this has been and as it's shaping up to be, the Oscars could definitely get very weird. But there is also the inevitability that it just kind of goes chalk for One Battle After Another. I think there's a world where, which by the way, I say that for One Battle After another movie on here that you listed, Sinners, is the most nominated movie in the history of the Academy Awards. It could go in their direction too, where they kind of just rip everybody apart and dominate everything. Marty Supreme at number 2 for you. Yeah, you talk about award season and how it's going well for some people and maybe not going so well for others. I would say maybe for Marty Supreme. Maybe for Marty Supreme, things are not going particularly well right now. For Timothée Chalamet, things I don't even really, the discourse on him I think it's so tired and so boring, and I think illustrates perfectly why the Academy Awards should be held a month and a half ago, because this is what the conversation devolves into. When you wait until March, the middle of March, to do the Oscars, is we're not even talking about the fucking movies anymore. We're talking about Timothée Chalamet and his opinions on like ballet and opera and shit like that. So that's kind of okay. So not really interested in that. But Marty Supreme I guess what annoys me is as somebody who I think I've seen everything that the Safdies have made. Minus the Smashing Machine. I still haven't seen that. But everything else that they've made either separately or together, The Curse being the single best thing that either of them have made, with Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder. Once you've seen one of them, you've just kind of seen them all. This movie was not so different from Uncut Gems or Good Time. Like, I don't know, they kind of just hire normal people to do actor shit in in everything that they do, all of it. Even like a fake like Q&A that they were doing with Adam Sandler. This is a video of this on YouTube. Like they sort of film it like it's a sort of scripted thing, because in some degree it is, but like they're also working with real people. It's very strange the way that they do it, but it also, the reason that their stuff has such a raw and authentic feel is because they're quote unquote casting real and authentic people. That same practice though is what led to the breakup of Benny and Josh and their sort of directorial practices in or not practices. That's what fractured their relationship, is they maybe hired a girl who was a little bit too young, it sounds like. And maybe some things happen on that set that were fucking not cool at all. But there's a reason why everything that they make feels the same way. And that's a big part of it, is because of the people that they get to act in their movies, right? And then the other piece of it is like protagonist, is faced with 3 problems. As soon as protagonist finishes one of those problems, it opens up 5 more. And it goes on like that for like 2.5 hours. That's everything that they make. And it's very fast paced. It's very chest thumpy. It's very, adrenaline inducing. It's a lot. It's very stimulating. The dialogue is very fast paced. It moves along, right? But it's just kind of, I think it's cool that Timothée Chalamet got people to care about a movie about ping pong. Even if they kind of just had to like make up a story like based on like a real guy and like based on some real stuff, but just kind of like make it its own thing. Yeah, it's original IP, so that's cool. Like, no matter what, original IP is cool. And making a movie that like people really responded well to. I just was like, I've seen this movie before. Even if it was still good. The Secret Agent, I still haven't seen it. And I don't know if it's 3 hours. I don't think I'm going to get to see it by Sunday. It's too bad. I don't think I'm going to get to see it. Sinners. It's a very, very good movie. It's very good. It's funny how popular of a take it is. The amount of people who say that it would have been a better movie. It went off the rails for people once the vampires were introduced to the story, and that everything leading up to that was like they would have just preferred that was the movie. It's interesting how popular of a take that is. So there are a couple of things here. People having like fucking amnesia, like in real time, of how people are perceiving this movie and how people are reacting to it. Again, it's the most nominated movie ever in the history of the Oscars ever. People act like there's this cloud of disrespect hanging over this movie. I just think it's a movie that it was so massive last summer that like it was kind of one of those, there's a couple movies every year that like brings out the I see 3 movies a year crowd, or sometimes it's even one. Sinners was kind of one of those movies that like it kind of got people that otherwise just kind of maybe see like one movie. It got people to the theaters, or people watched it on fucking HBO or something like that. Like it was a big thing. People really liked that movie and people responded well to it. It was massive, right? But when that's kind of like the only thing that you have consumed out of the entire year, so by the time the Oscars come around, you are just so staunchly in the camp of defending that movie, beyond the reason of anything else. I think it's an interesting movie because it shows us, I don't know, like what some black people were doing at a point in the 1900s that isn't often depicted in media, at a place in the country. And where were they? Mississippi, Louisiana? Where the fuck were they? That isn't often depicted like through media. And so like, I thought that was kind of, you know what I mean? Like as a set piece, like I think that's a very interesting background to what otherwise unfolds in this movie. And I think that for somebody who, for my entire life, I've never liked Michael B. Jordan. I've never enjoyed the experience. I just think he's a one-trick pony. I just think he's the same guy in everything. And I think he's corny. Damn. Sinners is the best performance of his entire life. It is the role/roles, it's plural, of a lifetime. I think it's the best he will ever be in anything ever for the rest of his career, ever. Michael B. Jordan in Sinners was amazing. I don't think he should win Best Actor, though. No, we're still going to go with Leo. The odds do not favor that whatsoever. Chalamet's plummeted. Michael B. Jordan has skyrocketed. They're closer to being even than anything. Leo has gone nowhere. In your okay zone, so moving down the list, these are your just two okay movies. Sentimental Value and Begonia. Sentimental Value, I might be able to watch this weekend. There's another one later on this list that it's going to be Sentimental Value or it's Train Dreams is the other one. I'm going to try to get one of those in this weekend, and then I think that's going to be the last one I get to watch before the Oscars. But otherwise, I've gotten to see all these. Begonia being in the okay zone is shocking to me. I thought that movie rocked impossibly hard. I love, as on the nose as this is going to be, I love spending 2 hours being like, well, obviously she's not a fucking alien. Obviously she's not. But I'm compelled by how she will get out of this, whether she has to explain her way out of it or fight her way out of it, however this goes. I'm excited to see how this goes. Oh, wow. Oh, how is Jesse Plemons going to get out of Stavros fucking showing up at his house? And then, oh, well, he kills him. Oh, my God. Wow. Oh, this guy just blew his fucking head off. Oh, wow. Well, she's still not an alien, though. But she's still not an alien. And then what if at the end of those 2 hours, Yorgos Lanthimos was just like, hey, what if she was actually a fucking alien? Oh, my God. It blew my head off. Well, it's a terrible, no pun intended. Jesus, in that movie. Happens twice. Literally, it happens twice. Oh, my God. That movie was amazing. What a twist. She was a fucking alien the whole time. So I watched that movie. I watched it once by myself, and then 2 or 3 days later, I was like, "Babe, you gotta see this. You need to see this movie. I can't." And she was somehow interested in it. And I was like, "Okay, if you're really motivated to see this, we gotta see it." So I got to see it twice within a couple of days, and watching it immediately, getting to watch it a second time immediately, and knowing everything that it's a completely different movie, and it makes it even more shocking that Jesse Plemons was not nominated for Best Actor. Crazy. Outrageous. Out of this world. I really liked that movie, though. And then at the end, you have the bad zone. Hamnet and Train Dreams. Train Dreams, again, hoping to get to see this weekend. Hamnet, I just watched earlier this week, I think. Earlier this week, late last week. Gee whiz. The biggest lock, I think, the two biggest locks this year, I think, at the Oscars, the first biggest is Jessie Buckley for Best Actress. It's not close. She's just going to get it for Hamnet. And then the other one, I think, is PTA for Best Director. I think he's going to get it. I'm less sure about that one, but Jessie Buckley's 100% going to win Best Actress. Yeah, she portrays grief in Hamnet in a way that you seldom see. I don't know what maybe she's talked about this in the press run for it, but what she has experienced in her life that she had to tap into to perform the way that she did in that movie. I have no idea, but I kind of don't want to know because it seems like it was pretty harsh. Unless she can just get into, maybe she's had a perfect life. I don't know. Maybe she can just get into that zone, into that mode. In which case, that's a beast of a woman, which I guess she would be regardless. But this is I've seen her in a couple things. She was in Men, which is another movie where she has to deal with it's grief. It's dealing with loss, unexpected, very sudden, very violent loss. And the way that she responds in both movies, both, completely different circumstances, but and so it makes sense that they're different, but both very, very different. But in Hamnet, she was just a force. She was a train, and it got me, man. I was inconsolable. My brother had told me for months not to watch the movie. He knew I wasn't going to be able to handle it for reasons that if you've seen the movie, I texted him. I sent him a picture of me crying for real. And there were tears falling down my damn face. I sent it to him. I said, I trusted your judgment and believed you with everything in my heart, but I needed to watch this movie because it's the Oscars and I want to know. You know, I knew she's gonna win Best Actress, so I gotta know. And I found out. You know what I mean? All right, folks. Spotify. I love you guys. Apple Podcasts. What's up? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. And I will catch you guys in the next one.